Space is big, just like my review of Astroneer. So buckle up, hit that like and subscribe button for more, and let's blast off. As an Astroneer, it's your task to, go out and explore, discover and unlock mysteries that can be found. And with many options on offer and many customizational options to use and to unlock, you embark on your journey. So, I think this game will differ depending on who's playing it, and indeed, for that matter, who you're actually playing it with, as there's even a co-op option for you and a few friends or strangers to actually embark together with. But I had no friends with the game at time of reviewing, or could I even get a game online, so this is a single player review, which I suppose the co-op would only enhance, if you like. With a good mix of No Man's Sky and Minecraft, let me tell you a little how it all went down for me starting out. And let me just say there will be little continuity within the video and what I'm saying in this one, as I'm just going to be playing my starting hours gameplay in the background, as this is a big game and the video kind of came out a bit messy when I tried to add in everything I was saying, so I'm just going to leave you to soak in what's happening in the background while I pass judgment and review. And so, as the story goes, upon landing on my first planet and my base unpacking itself, alongside a kind of pad which is useful later on for creating things, this can also be used for checking your missions as well. The other thing I noticed was this big, great, massive backpack on my, back. And it's used to store items that you gather, and creating things is created with using a printer, and you have a small one attached to your backpack as well. You also get this gun-like thing, or terrain sucker as we like to call it in the trade. And this is used to, basically destroy land so that you can dig and mine, and also, when you actually have this storage unit attached to your backpack, you can then build things as well. And think of a really powerful Hoover, I suppose, that can also throw things out in a kind of fashion so you can build structures and the like. Anywho, eager to explore this new world, I started running around, jumping, and realizing that this is definitely a explorational type game. And this made me really happy, just going around and exploring and digging and things like that. But after a while, my character kept dying. In fact, this happened to me several times. And so I decided to read, the tips for the game. And there are quite a few of these, and some of them I don't really understand, and kind of had to fumble my way through to, get what I needed to do done. And with that, I stopped ignoring the rather obvious icon on the back of my actual backpack. Let us call this the oxygen gauge, the obvious thing that runs down just before you deplete it all and the screen goes a little bit red and, you pop your clods and have to start from the last save position. Nonetheless, it was a good reminder that, the sheer scale of this game and the fact that I was being a complete dick for not noticing what was blatantly obvious. And so, how do you stop this from happening? Basically, when you unbox your stuff at the beginning, you get a oxygen tank. This connects to the actual base, and then you get these, or you can build these tethers after you've researched them to basically elongate your oxygen supply. And if you look at many of the video clips, you can see that that is exactly what I'm attached to as I play on and move further away from the actual base itself. And with that all done, I nip back into the ship and save my position. Moving on a little, and after checking my missions, doing a few missions, making a few items, I then whip out my terrain sucker, and I start a digging. Firstly, this started off not being a very easy task, as all the digging you do, you then have to kind of like drag these tethers along with you, otherwise you basically run out of oxygen and suffocate, or have to keep running back and forth to the oxygen points. This was really annoying at the beginning of the game and almost put me off it, and then I kind of like it clicked somehow. This is part of the challenge, obviously, and as soon as I started looking at it in that respect, that is, essentially opened up more for me. It then actually became a challenge. Right, this is how I'm going to start planning everything out. And yeah, I think I got more fun out of this than it just being open and not being tethered. And I say this because it almost put me off, and I don't want other people to look at this and think, oh, no. It's the challenge in doing this. It's the puzzle element of working out, where to put these, how far, what to do. Oh no, I need to make sure I've got them. It all makes sense after a while of playing. So don't be put off by this aspect. But also don't be mistaken by thinking that this is the only way you can die in this game. Oh no, you can fall great lengths and die from that. You can also, there's certain things in this game like some rocks or plants that explode, and if they do that, well, you'll die, and things that hit you also will make you die quicker, if that kind of makes sense. And when you do eventually die, and if you're anything like my character, you will die a lot, you basically have to go all the way back from your base to where you were to pick up all your items again. I find this aspect a tiny little bit fiddly, because this game is definitely made for mouse and I believe keyboard as well. So some of the actual controls are really fiddly to pinpoint these little icons that you have to press on in order to move icons across, or indeed when making things with your backpack, pressing to move to the next item and things like that. Because they're so small, sometimes you'll miss, but obviously that wouldn't be a problem if you had a mouse playing the game, but I don't. It's a Nintendo Switch. The other thing that maybe was a bit off-putting was the fact that when mining in tunnels, I sometimes got turned around, and you do have a torch, but kind of everything almost looks the same sometimes. So unless you're in a bigger opening, it can kind of confuse you now and again, not all the time, but now and again. Although one of the fun things I found about the actual caves were there were some caves that you'll be digging and then there'll be a massive drop to the actual ground below, but you can build structures almost like a ladder system to move down. I kind of enjoyed that, because again that was almost like a puzzling bit to the game. And as well as that, you can also create other things with your terrain sucker. It has different modes and you can flatten things out and all. If you wish, you can build a big penis like they do in Minecraft, just because you can, really, I suppose. But suffice to say, this option is actually useful in places. I guess you might be thinking why I'm going over it so much, but yeah, you will be using it a lot. There is no mistake, this game is big. There's loads to explore and find, and I really have to say I was generally pleased with myself for finding them. This was also true with the building aspect, which had you exploring and gathering research points in order to unlock new items, so you can then use materials you gather to build them. And with that, some items that you build can be attached to you or your base, and some even need to be connected to a power source. And yes, later on you can even unlock vehicles. I find it very important to say that you really need to track your missions. These kind of help you find your feet, give you more direction, and also gives you more to discover. There is a lot to do in this game, and I've just touched on a little of it, believe it or not. But really, at its core, it's a kind of relaxing exploration mining game. Yeah, I know. and I would definitely say that it opens up the more you do. But it is a lot to take in at once, and if you try to run before you can walk, it may even put some off from the start. And yes, that was even me. I almost put the game down, but I persevered, luckily enough. I also found the writing in handheld mode to be very small and kind of hard to read. I think this is a reason why I was skipping a lot of the actual tutorial things within the game. You know, the things to help you actually do what you need to do. There's also IAPs or in-app purchases to this game as well, and I'm kind of not sure how I feel about that. I believe and I did actually try to research a little bit about the game once I noticed those were in it, and I kind of discovered that the PC version, the developers have kind of events each year, I think periodically set. So there will be updates and things for you to do after you kind of completed the main stuff, I guess. I suppose as such, like everything, it's up to you whether you buy these in-app purchases or IAPs, but I don't think, it's got anything to do with play to win, because it's basically not that sort of game, is it? Lastly, I wish to mention that I had a little bit of slowdown when there was loads happening on the screen. It just felt like it was almost struggling a little bit with the frame rate. This didn't happen all the time, it was just here and there. Again, as no one owns the game that I know, I couldn't check whether anyone else was having this problem, and obviously no reviews are out as yet, so obviously I couldn't check either, but it'd be interesting to know if anyone else had these issues and problems themselves. The good. The terrain sucker is great. Fanar. Destroy, rebuild, and make some silly shapes. And I suppose if you really have to, some shapes that could actually be useful to you, like platforms and the like. Co-op aspect. Even though I didn't get to play it in co-op, I can just imagine it heightening the experience a lot. So much to do. Oh yes, there really is. A good amount to build and to unlock, so something for you to get your claws in and keep you going. And at the end of the day, I did actually find it a relaxing game when I actually worked it all out. And I suppose the possibility, if they do events, I said do, I know, then that's a good thing as well. If they do them for the Nintendo Switch. The bad. I found it hard to get into. Very hard to get into. I had a few frame rate issues and problems with the writing being too small in handheld mode. I also have the feeling that it may put a few people off. In-app purchases, hopefully not misused, as this is something I really don't encourage them to do. But I do accept a few cosmetics here and there if they're going to support the game in the years to come. The score. With all I mentioned, good and bad, I enjoyed Astroneer and will keep it on my Switch alongside Minecraft and No Man's Sky that I own on the PS4. And as such, I'm going to be giving Astroneer a fantastic 4 out of 5, and I know this game has more to offer in the future. And that's my thoughts, and if there's anyone still left watching this, what are your thoughts? Leave them down in the comments. Let us know whether you're picking this one up because you like the cut of its jib. And as for my alternative, I think I'm just going to go for an obvious one now. I'm going to go for Minecraft. Yep, because, well, I guess it's kind of obvious. If you like Minecraft, you'd probably like this game. If you like this game, I think you'll probably like Minecraft. It's simple as that, really. If you've got a better alternative, leave it down in the comments as always. And hit that like and subscribe button. Especially if you've made it all this way and you haven't already. I thank you. Come join us in our Discord where we can discuss this game further, because that's what we like to do there. Because life is better when we switch together.